Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff too.
All right, here we go. We're live. Pogey Beta
Right
is
on.
live. We get JT in the house. JT, how's it going out there in Virginia?
I can't complain. I want to listen, bro.
All right, here we go. We're live. Shit, let me mute this other goddamn thing.
Rookie
There
move.
we go.
Got a bush league move here.
Well, first up, everybody saw the thumbnail. Obamas. The Obamas are back. I got a little clip here I want to play, and then we'll let you jump all over
Did
this.
we say the boys are
that
back in
keep
town?
me up because you don't have control over them, and you wonder where are people? Where are we in this? Where are our hearts? What's going to happen in this next election? I am terrified about what could possibly happen because our leaders matter. Who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit. It affects us in ways that sometimes I think people take for granted.
All right, I'll let you kick it off. Like you said, I think you said there just a second ago, the boys are back in town.
Boys are back in town. No,
Go for it. Let's hear
I
it.
commented on Twitter. I saw that and I said, so you come in the Obamas. I'm going to include Michelle as a politician. They come into politics with nothing. They leave worth $500 million on the books, multiple residences, and now they're scared. They've got tier one operators, former tier one operators as their security, not to mention Secret Service is probably even the best of the best. They're scared. So that's not true. It's right off the bat. It's bullshit. It can't be real because you've got the best. So even if we had Trump again, so we had him for 4 years, did people forget that? What's going to happen? Now, there may be some reckoning with some of the craziness. Like I mentioned, I talked to an FBI agent today, and you see the president getting raided, Roger Stone raided. The list is long, and the FBI, we used to think of it as professional. And this goes across the board. We used to think of the FBI as professional. I always did. I knew guys tried to get in, who went in. It was a very tight organization. You didn't want to get caught in the dragnet, but she's scared of what? Now, that works because people are such midwit morons. And I'm not saying they're not elected. Well, they don't look at what's going on and go, let's just go back to when Trump was president. I didn't like the mean tweets. Got it. I didn't like all those things. But did we have a good economy? Is a president affected? Well, day one, excuse me, day one when Biden went in, I said, I'm killing the Keystone Pipeline. Why do energy? Energy affects everything you pay for. I told this guy today, Chris, I said, borders, economy, that's all I care about. I don't care about the troon. I don't want to care about where you stick your penis. I don't care about, I'm not helping Israel or Gaza. Don't care. Sorry. We are broke. We are circling the drain. They said 24 million people under Biden, which means, they said 12, which means 24. If you saw that chart, that showed Obama was about the same as Trump. And Biden, we cannot take care of them. I didn't have 10 kids for a reason. I couldn't afford them. I don't need any more kids of El Salvadoran physician. So that's all I got, man.
Let me move this back over here a little bit. The thing that I find really odd, and I'll hit the start button here. I don't think Michelle's going to run. There's no way in hell she runs. And there's one reason that will keep Michelle from ever running for president. The Obamas do not want to disclose their financial findings because to run for president, now it's the thing. You got to disclose all these financial, they went after Trump, disclose your financial. The Obamas don't want that.
I thought
the
it was
Obamas do not want it.
Returns.
Tax
Trump
returns.
part,
Yeah.
right.
They don't want that. They don't want everybody to see how much money they got from BLM, how much money they got from Netflix. I mean, Barack Obama just won a Golden Globe like just the other night. It's his second one. Do you know how many career actors that don't have Golden Globe awards? Obama puts his name on a production or as a producer for some damn Netflix I Hate White People special, and he gets a Golden Globe. Come on, man. I think it's crazy. I do not think Michelle Obama will run. There's no chance. Now, what I do think is Barack and Michelle are kingmakers. And whoever they touch with their magic sword, and I'm sure Michelle has her own kind of sword, whoever they touch, that's going to be the endorsed candidate. JP Morgan Chase, one of their big financial guys, came out and said he believes Biden drops out between Super Tuesday and November. And I firmly believe he drops out. And I think Michelle and Barack are circling the drain to find the replacement. I kind of thought Gavin Newsom, but I haven't heard anything from him since they cleaned up the poop on the street. So I don't know who they roll out. You can't get Hillary with Bill all over these these home movies and all this this airplane stuff. You can't get Bill. That gets rid of Hillary. I don't know what they do. Barack, Michelle, they're kingmakers. Michelle's not running. That's my opinion.
Why would they give up? They are more powerful now than as president. They've got a bigger legacy already as a living president than JFK. Obama does.
Oh,
yeah. Left. I mean, there will be Obama streets. Trust me. There's JFK streets. MLK. There'll be Obama streets. He can do no wrong. I mean, I don't get it. He got a Nobel Peace Prize. He was more kinetic than George Bush.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at the amount of sorties, the amount of ordnance dropped. I mean, now the rules of engagement shift all the time. But at periods in time, Obama is not some dove. What else we got, man?
One last thing. It's funny you mentioned that about dropping the sorties and the drones. There was something that came out today with President Trump going to this immunity trial, and they wanted to give presidential immunity. And Trump said there in the foyer outside of the courtroom, well, does that mean immunity covered the drone strikes from Barack Obama? And the room fell silent. It was like a fart in church whenever he said that, because everybody's holy anointed one. Nobody wants to talk about the drone strikes in the cafe, unaliving all the kids. So the presidential immunity thing, but we'll get that a little later on. Second topic.
But wait a second, Ben.
Go ahead.
The Obamas are smart and they mean well, right? They mean well. When I talked to Chris today, the FBI guy I mentioned to you, okay? I talked about Lisa Page and Strzok.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm sure they were competent to get to that level, but they really think they're helping you from yourself. They're protecting you from yourself. So they think Trump should not be there. Hillary should be there. She's the best candidate because we're smart. It's the intellectual thing. Like, just like communism here, these people have a different life. Look at all Castro kids, the Mediterranean, or not his kids, he didn't have any on the record besides Trudeau, but look at all the sons, kids. You look at anybody, the CCP elite. Go to a communist. People haven't been in a communist country need to go. You're like, wow, where are these gate guards? Beautiful houses. Oh, it's the party members. Let's go on the next topic. I don't want to rant too long.
Next up, chain of command. You were a Marine. When you were a Lance Corporal, if you didn't tell your corporal, your sergeant, God forbid you even made eye contact with your gunny, you just had a bad day. Chain of command. Now it comes out that Lloyd Austin, I thought he was going to go in as Lloyd and come back as Loretta, but apparently Lloyd goes in, has prostate cancer, has his prostate removed. Dylan Mulvaney might have prostate cancer soon too, but he having his prostate removed, doesn't tell anyone that he's going to have this procedure. Now the White House comes in today, says all deputies have to let them know if they're going to have medical procedures. Talk to me about chain of command. What do you think about this?
Well, they knew. I would think it's nearly impossible that somebody, a cabinet official, like where is he? Oh, he's not here today. He's called in sick. I mean, you know, I mean, you're somebody at the hospital, Bethesda, that's like, okay, here, you know, this is a known thing. You don't have the Secretary of Defense just randomly at Paducah, Kentucky hospital getting a prostate removed. So they know. I don't know what the big deal is for him to say, hey, I'm having a major surgery. It's not really elective and you have a prostate removed. It's not like you got a seed put in or some something radioactive in there to help him. It's a problem. It's a big deal. So I don't know why they just didn't say, yeah, he has to have his prostate removed. We got second command, whoever this is, and we're fine. Why would you make it? Why would you make it so top secret? It's just weird. There's no reason to say the guy had a medical condition. He had to be in the hospital a while. Some recovery time, depending on where they went in. That's a big deal. I don't get it. So why all the cloak and dagger over something that happens? I'd go, okay, well, I'm glad you hope he's doing well. If I don't have to like the guy, but it's strange. It's strange that we don't say, okay, the second command, I don't know who that is. Who's second in charge? Secretary, Assistant Secretary of Defense?
Rachel Levine. I have no idea.
But does it matter ultimately? I don't think so. I mean, we got a lot of layers. I haven't found him to be terribly forthright and effective. He didn't seem like he was a general. I think once you graduate to 4-star, you become not a general, not a military member, just the facts. And you get into pontificating, because you want to go that board seat, man. All those board seats he's going to be on after were $10 million a year to fly out to Turks and Caicos and sit there and get some hotties. So, not showing up, it's hard for me to believe they didn't know. I think that's not true. If they're like, wow, I can't believe he's been gone this long, then do we need him? If they didn't know he's been gone this long, since January, whatever it was, do we need him? You go, wow, I didn't even know he's gone. Great. Out of here. So they knew. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That seems silly. And they're like, wow, we had no idea.
The thing I've got is there's so many things going on. He's been out of pocket since December 22nd. There's so many things going on. You got all this stuff over in Yemen, the Red Sea. There was some sailors on a ship that actually engaged some Houthi rebels, sank a couple of rafts. I'll call them rafts. There was another sailor on a carrier that took his own life. There was a Air Force B-1B bomber that crashed. Those things cost $277 million. There's a lot of moving parts with the military that are happening that, I mean, I was in positions where we had a daily intel briefing. We had a daily ops briefing. Did nobody like look around the table and be like, hey, where's the guy at the head of the table? Where's that guy?
Where's the boss at?
Yeah, where's the boss? I mean, I know we got a few little skirmishes going around the rest of the world. China's putting a lot of tanks together to go to Taiwan for a little field trip. North Korea's launching bombs at South Korea. They're testing nukes. I mean, there's got to be something going on. Even the Secretary of State, Blinken, came out and said, well, I don't know. I mean, chain of command, I learned in the Navy, never be the senior guy with a secret. Always tell somebody above you. Biden says he didn't know. I mean, obviously Biden doesn't know, and he probably doesn't even know where he's at. But somebody's pulling the strings. Somebody. I mean, I don't know. Intelligence, briefing, and White House. I know that's like a conundrum, a mix of terms for what's going on there. But this is just a failure of chain of command like no other, because, I mean, ultimately, from Lance Corporal to the president, that's your chain of command. And this guy was right at the top.
I mean, they don't do anything that time of year anyway.
No.
But I'm sure he's got a security detail, right? We know that. I mean, all generals have a security detail already in place. So, of course, he does. So whatever that detail is, whatever makes it up, are like, hey, we got the week off. You stay in guard at the hospital. So somebody knew. Now, why it's such a cloak and dagger thing, I don't get it. Are they just that incompetent? And if you didn't know he was gone, do you need him? No, probably not. He's not very effective. I think they knew. I don't know why it's such a big deal. Like, okay, he had his prostate removed. Well, it happens. I wish him well,
Yeah. Yeah, good luck. But they could have really played this and really played the sympathy card, prostate cancer, men's health awareness. Right. We hate men, but now we got some men's health awareness. I mean, they could have really milked this. They could have really got some sympathy for this.
Once they yank the prostate, that man part is done.
Yeah, get some Depends. Him and Joe can probably get the same Depends.
Well, you're not saying it a full mass, let's call it.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, next up, we have talked multiple times about things going on at the border. Democrat congressman out of New York said what should not have been said out loud. And I'm going to play this clip and then we'll break it down.
New York, we have a diaspora that can absorb a significant number of these migrants. And when I hear colleagues talk about, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
So she said the loud part, right. She said the quiet part out loud. This is a great replacement theory, and I'll get your take on this. Go for it.
Well, is she that confident they're all going to vote D? I mean, are they just required to? Who's to say? Let's just say they bring them in. I mean, look what Cubans, how they behave. You brought them in. They weren't terribly liberal. And by today's standards, Cubans would be right-wing, literally Schmittler. I mean, they've got family values. They're not big fans of 30-week abortions. So it's odd because that may backfire on you at some point. Now I know the sales pitch is, hey, the R's didn't want you here. I love you. I got you here. But do they really think that's going to work long term? They must, because they want to bring in unlimited. But I would say Republicans don't care either. When Trump was president, he couldn't get the $4 billion to the wall. It's called $8 billion. It's called $10 billion. We couldn't get a wall built. And at one point, he controlled the House and the Senate. You couldn't get a wall built. So I don't think either side really cares, because it's cheap labor. Now I don't know. I mean, at some point I just go, neither side cares. I mean, Reagan signed an amnesty bill, Teddy Kennedy, the last time. Also, Reagan, I brought up today with Chris, Reagan signed the 86 gun laws that changed radically how the access to firearms are. I had a question, maybe it'll come up. When I was a young man in the 80s, late 70s, there was access everywhere. It's fully auto. And now there's no access. There's more incidents we see. But I just wonder if that's ever going to backfire on them at some point. You bring in people, let's say you brought in people from Gaza. Are those people left-leaning? We saw what happened in Maryland and Glendale. Not Glendale, but in California, where the Armenians and the Muslims said, no, we don't need you teaching about female penises to our six-year-old. No. You do that. We're not interested. So I wonder where this goes long term. I mean, these people aren't down with that. It's fascinating that they think it's going to work long term, just like Gen Alpha is more conservative than ever. I guess that's before Gen Z. I just learned that.
My take on this, she's out of New York. New York, California are losing people like nobody's business. People are leaving in droves. When they leave, the redistricting she's talking about, and most people might not know this, but House seats, congressional seats, is determined by the population. So much population dictates a congressional seat, House seat, and then the total congressman plus 2 is how many electoral votes you get. So if you have a massive outpouring of people leaving, you lose sort of some of your base, the solidarity. You lose House seats. California, I have not heard somebody say I'm moving to California in 10 years. California is losing people like crazy. I got a friend of mine, he had to pay $7,000 for a U-Haul to move out of California. Rather than doing that, he drove to Oklahoma, bought a trailer, took it back, filled it up, and then sold it back in California when he was done. People are leaving in droves. This is going to affect the power in the House, in the Senate, because places like South Carolina, Georgia, here in Arkansas, Texas, Florida, they're getting more powerful because the people are leaving. And I think this is why California, all these other places are like, hey, we need people. But what really makes me scratch my head is Governor Abbott out of Texas is helping this replacement theory by sending people to the dumpster fires that everybody else is leaving. He's putting fuel on there to replace it. But you might be right. I mean, they're taking a lot of things for granted. I don't know. I think maybe whenever they cross the border and get documented, they just say, hey, Juan Valdez, the doctor, sign this here. Now you're a registered Democrat. I don't know. It's a weird thing that she said that out loud.
I've never met any leftist Afghanis, Kurds,
no,
Pakistanis, Yemeni, people from Yemen. Never met a leftist, not even kind of. So I just don't know. I mean, in Gaza and Palestine, the neighbors won't even take them. They're like, no, thank you. We don't want those neighbors.
Never met any trans Yemenis or Yemenis?
No. In Somalia, Niger, Sudan, never seen one. I wouldn't know what would happen if you were one.
Trans Kuwaitis. I never saw any of those. Never saw some trans Iraqis. That's a weird dynamic. They're making a lot of assumptions.
Visit Algeria, and I realized it's a racist country because there's not a lot of whites there. Shocker. The French left.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, next up. Let me remove that one. Next up. Here we go. I got another little clip here. This is a good one. This is everybody's favorite Nikki Clinton.
But let's keep in mind, these people that are wanting to come here, they want to come for a better life too. They have kids too. They have a heart too. So we don't need to be disrespectful. We don't need to talk about them as criminals. They're not. They're families that want a better life, and they're desperate to get here.
All right. There's Nikki Clinton. What do you think about that?
I want a lot of things. I don't want to pay 40% taxes. I don't want to support people who sit on their ass in a trailer and do methamphetamines and get SSDI checks. I want a lot of things. I'm sure all of India would love to come to America. We're not letting them in. And here's the thing, since Nikki would love China so much, why don't we say, hey, China, we'll give you some of our military jets and we'll fly them over, because China doesn't want them. China gets a pass on everything.
Yeah.
The people from Gaza, we'll send them to Beijing. No, we can't. Don't ever say that. I hear people talking about Russia. I go, what about Russia? Are you joking? China is the biggest threat. They got power. They control everything. They can shut us down in a blink of an eye. I'm sure they all do want a great life. I understand. But if I want to live in Guatemala, I just can't live there. It doesn't work that way, because I'm not Guatemalan. Just nowhere around the world does it work that way. I want a better life, so I don't want to move there. Most places around the world, you can't buy property. You can lease it. You can have some weird company own it, but it's not like you can buy property. So I understand what she's saying, but we're at the end of an empire. We're so opulent. We go, if they come here, they can just live off somebody else's taxes, because they don't, leftists don't want to pay for that. And there is the reality. Excuse me. So and I agree. I'm sure they're all outstanding people, but I've seen who's coming to border, the military age men. What are they going to do here? They're illiterate, mostly in their own language. That's just a fact. So how are they going to function here? We don't have that same economy we did when they talk about, look at the Statue of Liberty, buddy. Oh, this country's built on immigrants. Ron DeSantis' family came in 1917. Okay, that's not the same country we're talking about. We had none of the benefit programs, none of the entitlement programs.
Yeah, FDR.
And we weren't $30 trillion in debt. We just can't afford it, and they're not integrating well, and partially because NGOs don't want them to integrate. But by the time they get here, they know exactly their rights to say, white man, you're a racist, pay me.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Eddie, I want half. I mean, basically, the Eddie Murphy skit, he gets the wife from Africa.
Yep.
She's great. She speaks American. He's like, Eddie, I want half. I mean, it's just what we got.
My take on Nikki, she said it, and I had the clip, and I lost it. She changes for whoever she's talking to. Right. Obviously, whoever she's talking to there are a bunch of people that need cheap labor. And that's what it is. But she says they're not illegal. They're not criminals. I've got property. You got property. If somebody comes on my property and puts up a tent or cuts a hole in the fence, they broke the law. I want to know, I would like to ask Nikki one question. Nikki, if you're so for them coming in, how many of them do you have living in that $6 million house that you've got in South Carolina? And a $6 million house in South Carolina is huge. And I want to ask Nikki, second question, do you lock your doors? Do you lock your car? Because if you are for an open border, but you lock your car, you lock your house, you're a hypocrite. And I think that's exactly what it is. She's spinning hypocritical yarns. She'll say anything. She is Hillary Clinton 2.0. She's Nimarata Clinton 2.0. I can't stand her. I don't have any faith, but a lot of these lamestream media sources are propping her up, and you're going to see a lot of Democrats vote for her. That's all I got, and I'll cut it short because I can't stand her.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I mean, like you say, she talks out of both sides of her mouth. When she said we need to bring 1.1 million people from Gaza here, I go, are you insane?
Yep.
What are we going to do with them?
Yep.
We don't have the bandwidth to take care of these people. Where are they going to fit in? It's a different culture. And again, their neighbors don't want them. That tells me all I need to know. What else we got?
Next up, I'm going to share the screen here so you can see this. Okay. China, this happened today. China replaces Western energy firms in Iraq's supergiant oil field. As of today, China has taken over the largest oil field in Iraq. It was owned by Exxon. China took it over. Gas prices in Cuba today went up 500%. What do you think? What's that going to do here?
Well,
And
it's not gonna
nobody's
make
talking about it.
Yeah, it's not going to make our prices cheaper. I didn't know about it. This is never, oh, your prices are going down. China's going to take care of you. Now, China's got the relationship with Russia for their energy. That's their gas station. And then, China makes everything after we taught them. They stole all of our patent secrets, just like Russia did years ago, but China's even better at it. So I don't know what people think's happening. We spend how long in the desert, blood and treasure. Even in the first Gulf War, I knew, we're keeping oil prices down. I knew that just intuitively. I go, makes sense. It's in our national interest to have cheap oil. We don't care. Now, if we'd gone and fought 20 years and I said, well, you know what? We commandeered some oil fields. This stuff's cheaper. It's good for us. I would be like, okay, at least we're getting something.
Yeah.
We're getting nothing. And now China's taking it. And it seems like this is set up to a degree. Like China just keeps stepping. They're not, look back at China in the 70s. Look up images. And they advanced so far, so fast because we use them for our cheap labor and they amass a lot of dollars. I can't believe that we're going to sit back and, well, I can. Actually, I can't believe it. When the president comes in day one and says, I'm shutting down the Keystone Pipeline after saying he would never shut it down. We were a net energy exporter. And now, I saw the Lincoln Project say, well, gas is $3.10. There you go, Trump. It was like $1.77 when he took office. That's, not double, but it's too expensive. There lies a problem. Diesel's still $3.90 a gallon. I was paying $1.80-$1.90. That affects everything you get, every crop you eat. I don't care if you're a vegan. All that stuff's done with diesel equipment. So do people get a clue about what's going on and then say, we need to have cheap energy, keep us independent. We take back some of our manufacturing, and we can't have uninvited guests here until we sort out what we got. We got a lot of internal problems. And so I don't know what you do with that. I could say just another win for China. Why not take Taiwan? What are we going to do about it? We're going to get in war with the person that supplies us everything? Are you kidding me? They would shut it down. It's like, why did the Japanese go to war, create war with us? Think about it. We had a blockade. They couldn't get steel. They couldn't get this, couldn't get that. That's part of there's a lot of parts here, but anyway, they can just take it. And what are we going to do? And they'll control 97% of the chips in the world.
Right now, well, as of today, oil has been traded in dollars. Now it will be in yen. And when you control that, you control everything. Cuba's oil prices jumped 500% today, or fuel prices jumped 500%. That tells me it's going to jump here. And I hate to say it, but it could be, it's horrible across the board. Don't get me wrong. The haves and haves not. The people that can pay for it will pay for it. The people that can't won't. But this is another thing, another way. Whenever I put gas in my truck to go vote, I'm gonna make sure I have almost an empty tank of gas the night of whenever I go vote. So that way I get up the next morning, I put gas in my truck and I get pissed off as I drive to the polls. And I recommend everybody else does that. And that in itself, gas prices, border economy, those three are going to affect what happens in the election. But nobody's talking about this. I didn't see Kramer on CNN pulling the last little bit of hair out of his head, or MSNBC, or whatever other lamestream shit that he's on. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about China taking over the biggest oil refinery, reserve drills, whatever you want to call it, in Iraq, supergiant oil field. That tells me things are going to change. China's flexing some muscle. That's it. And what about Exxon?
They can rebuild Iraq that's been destroyed between us and all the mercenaries that came through there, ISIS.
Yeah.
And China will just say, we want oil, we'll help you rebuild it. We got equipment, we got tractors, we got electronic, we have everything. If you look to what Cuba wanted from us, this is not long ago. They're after the Bay of Pigs, they wanted tractors from us. China wanted tractors.
Yep.
Obama, before Crimea, we put sanctions on them. They were buying our tractors, our beef. As soon as Obama put sanctions on Russia, people either get in the game, but I honestly do think people are so burned out and they just don't care and they just won't show up to the polls just based on the midterms. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird dynamic. Next up, this is a good one. Fani is using her Fani. Fani Willis, DA in Georgia, is using her Fani. I don't know what it is about black female prosecutors that want to spread the business around, but it seems like she's going full Kamala Harris. And I'll get your take on this first.
God, no, another one. Oh, I thought you were going to put a clip up.
No.
Well, I hate to say it, but when I hear a lot of these, I can't speak to her, but I hear the one in New York, the attorney general, I hear a lot of these people speak and they start talking law and just black letter law. First thing that comes to mind is diversity hire. And I'll tell you why. When Joe Biden says, I want a black female on the Supreme Court, that was a diversity hire.
Yep.
You're not saying, well, wow, I have this amazing, I can say female. I have this amazing Indian woman or Asian man that's just amazing jurist. And so once you see that, again, a little poop wrecks the whole ice cream. You got a beautiful sundae, and I drop 2 dabbles of poop on top, your ice cream is ruined. Unfortunately, it went too far too fast in all levels. You got Dr. Levine, you had the suitcase stealer guy, the nuclear waste guy. I mean, it just never ends with these people. And until we say, now they got rid, the Supreme Court said no diversity hiring, no acceptance, whatever. They're still going to do it. They're going to ramp it up, and then you have to prove it and litigate it. No, just some district judge in California will say, well, I think it's fair. I think it's fair. So, I don't know how Trump gets out of this, because even in Georgia, it's shocking. But you saw the jurist, or not the jurist, but the head of the jury on the one trial, it's like, I can't wait to get him in front of me.
Yeah.
Thing. Unfortunately, that's who goes to, have you ever sat in for jury duty? I can get out of that quickly. Like, I'm out of the country. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not coming. Somebody sends it back. He's not here. He's gone. We'll send you a letter from his boss. Give me a break. Until this lawfare, the selective lawfare, where Hillary Clinton's got a server in her basement, nothing. But yet they just say, okay, we're going to kick in the doors of your house and sniff your wife's Melania's underwear because you have some documents. The curtain's been removed, Wizard of Oz. You can see it now. And the thing is, you can see it, and they're doubling, tripling down. And that's what's terrifying. Because all apparatuses are controlled by these people. Who are these people?
Oh, yeah.
They're people who have more interest in their own. They think they're right. I'll stop.
I think this whole Fani Willis, she had something going good here, but by hiring her boyfriend that she's banging for almost $900,000 a year and not thinking that information was going to get out. You have to be an idiot. And it seems like the left, they let their private parts get them into a lot of trouble. With Kamala and Willie Brown. Now you got this DA Fani Willis. You're in this position as a district attorney.
AOC did the same thing with her boy toy or husband, whatever it is.
Absolutely. Lauren Boebert, these female, it's crazy. But Fani Willis, you want everybody to believe you got Trump on the ropes, and, Trump says, grab them by the, what, and everybody loses their shit. Well, Fani's using her Fani for the wrong thing. I don't know. It's kind of ironic. It comes down to everything that the left accuses you of doing, they're doing. And,
well, of course,
and they just get caught.
And the thing that she really feels like she's justified in it, because she feels there's systemic racism in the country.
Oh,
they
without a shadow
really
of a doubt.
believe that. They really, I deserve to do this. My boyfriend deserves $900,000 because he was discriminated against. Slavery, 1619 Project. They've been taught that. Obama beat that in their head. And then when Trump was in office, it was more affirmed than ever. And then Biden just says, of course you deserve. No big deal. Like Menendez, New Jersey. Oh, he got a bunch of watches from the UAE. What's the big deal? He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
If Trump did it, he'd be impressed. And you see, because Trump's mean. But Bob Menendez, like his 5th time for career.
Gold bars.
He's a nice guy. He's Hispanic. Come on.
Who
nice
the hell
guy.
has that many gold bars? Come on.
Yeah, you go bars. That's just like parting gift. Everybody gets that.
Next up, just a couple of days ago on Twitter, the Clinton Presidential Library put out a tweet, and it was an image, a picture of Bill Clinton sending his very first email. And come to find out, now they've taken this down because they got ratioed on this tweet. His very first email was to, of all people, it could have been Santa. His very first email as a president, first email sent, was to Jeffrey Epstein. What do you think of this? What do you think about the whole Epstein thing with the potential home videos?
How did they know it was Jeffrey Epstein? I didn't see that image. They show the image and it was like Epstein, Epstein. I mean, how do you not miss those optics? Who was it? The sports guy who put up something. Oh, I can't believe ESPN's showing this. And it was like a corn vid. It's like, I think somebody goes, hey, it's in your cookies. Bad call. But how do you not see those optics when you've got layers and layers of interns and diversity hires looking? Oh, Epstein, let's just fix that with Photoshop and make it
redact.
Yeah, make it somebody really like he was talking to an African, delegate who's going to save the world. I mean, are you that incompetent? That many people. I mean, I pay attention when I'm doing a thumbnail and go, oh, okay, this is good. What's in the back? Oh, license plates in the back. I should read that. Normal people do that, but they don't care. And maybe there's some subtlety. Maybe there's some nuance there. Like, hey, by the way, yeah, him and Jeffy were emailing back and forth. I mean, everyone knew Clinton was there at the island. That's nothing new. I haven't heard really anything new come out of it, especially when they say, well, they were on the witness list. They were deposed. Well, who gives a shit? A waiter could have been deposed who waited on Jeffrey and Bill with, a threesome each with two 12-year-olds. He could have been deposed. Just a guy, Juan Manuel, in the Miami, coffee shop. He's like, well, yeah, I saw him. There was two girls in each arm. Looked like they were 12. So, but people are morons. They run with it. And I think part of it is people are agitators, run with it to get you chasing it, like shiny object.
Yeah.
And you go, let's focus back. Well, I knew Bill was there. No big deal. I knew Dershowitz was there. No big deal. I already knew that. And I know no one's going to do anything because what are you going to do? He went to the island. That doesn't mean it's a crime. It does ask some questions. But when Dershowitz goes, I don't even know Jeffrey Epstein. I go, bro, you were there 173 times. Okay. Stop with I don't know. Like you just flew to some island that was private. But, I think deny. And what are they going to do? Eventually, the news cycle moves on. People still think there's people that are baked into D, baked into R, and the Ds are stronger baked in. And they'll get the vote out. They'll get social media influencers. They'll Dylan like the midterms come out. So you have to vote or take away trans rights. Time is up.
I think, like you said, all these diversity hires that are all smarter than us, they should have caught this. I mean, if you're going to put out, with everything going on, who at the Clinton Library said, you know what? I think I know how we fix this. We put out an image of Bill sending an email and then we put just enough so that people figure out it was to Jeffrey Epstein. This will throw everybody off their path. I mean, it reminds me of that scene in Dumb and Dumber whenever he trades the van for the moped. And he's like, just when I thought you couldn't be any dumber, you go and do this and totally redeem yourself.
Right.
Come on, dude. I mean, literally, come on. How dumb can you get? And the more irony is he's using Microsoft Outlook, which was created by everybody else's favorite Bill Gates, on an Apple computer. It's the conundrums of irony and hypocrisy are there. And then somebody said, I mean, they got ratioed in the tweets, in the comments. It's like, was Bill in Hillary's secret server room whenever he sent this? Was this about arranging Ghislaine to come to Chelsea's wedding? I mean, it was just ironic.
Well, and I remember Hillary saying, oh, the emails I had were just about the wedding. You remember that?
84,000 emails about just yoga about and weddings.
Yoga. Like I've seen her. She doesn't do yoga, but
it's just irony. Just when you think that they can't get any dumber, they go and totally redeem themselves.
Right, I think perfect. It's always classic.
I just love it. And if Saturday Night Live was still good, they would make so many good skits out of this. I mean, it would be epic. It would be absolutely epic.
Actually.
Let's see. Next up, now you'll love this, and I know you're about to move there. California just said that they are going to pay for all the surgeries for the transgendered illegal space invaders, and it gets better. California just released their budget They are $34 billion negative. They have a negative $34 billion budget right now. What do you think? Are you loading up and moving to Beverly so you can get your tallywhacker surgery?
We'll just issue some new bonds and they'll be all fine.
What do you think about this?
Well, I don't understand how anybody in California can go, okay, I love migrants. They're the best among us. I understand. But now I'm going to pay for their surgeries because a lot of those people they need a surgery. They need weight loss surgery. They can't get it. They need, they're emotional. They need a breast augmentation. They need something. These leftists, right? They can't get that paid for. Yet you're going to pay for trans care, which is not just hormones. We're talking Adam's apple removal, brow removal, breast augment. I mean, it's a very, I don't know if you saw that.
Skin graft, all that stuff.
Yeah, there was a long EO or a acceptance report or whatever you want to call it from an insurance company. Somebody get it. And we're already paying for it. I don't see how in a perfect world you go, well, sure, let's pay for it. But these doctors don't work for free. The hospitals don't work for free. Somebody's paying for this. So $30 billion in the hole. And you go, well, here's a great idea. Let's do transgender surgeries on people who don't belong here. Let's do any surgery. You should be like, you need to get out of here. Like if you go to we can't pay for it, but it doesn't surprise me because what was left 10 years ago is now right-wing Schmittler. I mean, what was woke art 20 years ago would now be considered. That's literally Schmittler. So that's how fast these movements go. Bill Clinton circa 1995 would be a Republican and they'd be hard right. And they say he's a Christian conservative. Hillary Clinton says, lock up them welfare queens. Yeah. Get those animals in check when she was talking about young black teens committing crimes. But how fast it's turned. Now, if you think they don't still believe that, they want to get elected, just like Barack Obama said, marriage between a man and a woman, his first term. Next thing you know, he's pushing, trying to get that same-sex marriage. So they'll flip, and people go, if they lied about this, what else are they lying about? But again, most people are midwits. They don't care enough, or they've given up. I mean, I'm not saying I'm some intellectual, but I pay attention. They've just given up. And I really feel people have just given up and say, well, this is what it's going to be. How bad can it get? Well, it's going to get worse when they come to your neighborhood.
$34 billion in the negative is crazy. They have a thing there called Medi-Cal, which is kind of Medicaid, but it's just for California. And it's going to get thrown into this. California is bankrupt. I mean, bankrupt. And that's why people are leaving. And now they think they're going to attract the best and finest for offering transgender surgeries. I tell you, the people that should be really pissed off. If I am a skinny chick, ugly, with no boobs, and I was like, you know what? If I had boobs, I could start an OnlyFans account. I'm pissed because now the money for me to get breast augmentation so that I can put food on the table is going to Steve so that he can become Stevie. I'm pissed. I am absolutely pissed. And if I want to go into that industry and I can't get my augmentation because Juan wants to become Gene, I'm pissed. I don't know where it ends with California. Just when you think California can't get any crazier, it's nuts. I don't understand. It is insane. I listened to a podcast the other day with Rogan interviewing Taylor Sheridan, the writer of Yellowstone or whatever. And he was talking about how he can't get actors that live in California to work because they refuse to live there. They all live outside and they cost a lot to fly them in. He's like, I'm done. And it's kind of epic. And I know that's a problem for the elite, but it's hilarious. And I just find it so disgusting. I know so many people watching the channel are planning on moving to California. Good luck. Good luck. Next up, what was the last one? Oh, you'll like this one. Not as serious as anything else, but Judge Judy today threw an endorsement behind Nikki Haley. So she got her first real celebrity endorsement. What is your take on these celebrity endorsements? Not just Judge Judy, but any of them. I know you take all of your advice on how you run your farm and stuff like that from, Jim Carrey, so to speak. But what do you think about political advice? I'm going to turn the clock off. I'm out of topics. If you've got anything else, you let me know.
Anybody who does make believe for a living and they want me to take their advice, like they pretend like when you were a small child, you pretend you played War in the Woods. You make believe. anybody who lives in fantasy land, I appreciate the art. I'm not taking advice. Most of them didn't graduate high school. Judge Judy, I guess, was a real judge, a little different. But I hear Tom Hanks. What do you think about Tom Hanks' opinion? I go, I don't care what Tom Hanks' opinion is. I find he was a good actor. But me taking any advice when his whole world didn't graduate high school, most of them, their whole world's been drug fueled. And of course, we know the higher they get up, small children involved. I'm not taking advice from them. And again, anybody, I wouldn't expect to take advice from them. So they make a mistake. I go, okay, you're a normal person. But they expect people go, well, this is what Oprah Winfrey said. I go, I don't care what Oprah said. Why would I care what Oprah said? She hasn't worked a regular job. I know she's a news anchor, but she's so far removed from our reality that I don't care. I don't care what The Rock says. He's so far removed from our reality. So I'm not going to listen to what people do lying for a living who've never haven't pumped gas in their car in 20 years. So it's irrelevant to me. And Judge Judy, I guess, is Springer going to come out and go out from the grave and go, oh, I stand behind, Bill Clinton. I mean, where does this never end? And people are so gullible. They just go, oh, well, The View, they must be right. Look at the people on The View. Their background is. I'm not saying I'm some Aristotle here, but I mean, these people can't relate to you anymore. They pretend relate. That's their job. They just pretend relate to you, and they go,
Yeah.
"Oh, look at the plebes." Oh, yeah, but $10 a gallon gas. I understand it's rough on them because I know my housekeeper now is taking Uber, but whatever. I like Consuela. She's very nice, and her family's nice, and she always smiles at me. Yeah, she's a slave.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't understand why anybody listens to him at all. Like, listen to LeBron James. Like, why would I listen to LeBron James? He's so far removed from reality, and he's going to preach to me about how to live. I mean, he's just athletes in general.
I got some comments here I wanted to get through. We got some people left some comments. This guy, Robert, says, the other day I saw a guy making a comment about how Republicans have no integrity. Neither side has honor, integrity, decency, or humility. Does political affiliation have which side, if you had to say, had integrity? Because I think Robert's point is neither side does. What's your take on that?
Well, I think here's the thing. I think they're all paid liars, but I want people at least pretending with the policy they suggest or sign. They care about my way of life. I don't want to find the petrodollar gone because they've squandered away with foolish focuses. So I think they're all liars, but when somebody focuses on, okay, we're going to work. Hey, I remember Newt Gingrich held Clinton to the, we need to balance the budget. Can we try that? Think about balancing the budget. So I think they're all liars, but when they get there, what do? They have something best interest is going to be good for my economy, protect my border. Now it's getting endless wars. That's really all I care about. So when but the problem is to be on the left or the Democratic Party, you have to be radical. Like Joe Biden's not left enough for some. So they need to go further left.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're all paid liars, but some do more damage than others. And I think Obama and Obama 2.0 has done more damage to the country in lots of ways. Obama, and that'd be Biden, ripped apart race relations to a level I haven't seen growing up in the 70s in the South. So I think they're all paid liars, but how much damage are they doing to our way of life, to our society? Somebody's
got a good comment here. And my take on this says Obama gave cartels guns, care packages, right? Guns, Fast and Furious.
Yeah, Eric Holder. Yeah, of course.
The cartels. I mean, the cartels would be happy to get the Obamas back into office, right? Or get Michelle back into office. Do you think it's legitimate, or, I mean, I don't think Michelle has a chance. I don't think she puts her, I don't know. What's your take on Michelle?
I don't see why Michelle has any interest. They're more powerful now than ever.
Yeah.
They command more of a presence. I'm sure his speaking fees are $500,000. I don't get like why Nancy Pelosi still goes in. I guess because there's no job. In other words, at some point you got so much money. I guess because they really aren't working. There's no work required. At some point I'm like, I see my grandkids and wash the feet of some immigrants. Remember that when she's washing the feet? So there's no job, because why would you do it? Why did Michelle go in? She had all this money, these homes, under the scrutiny of the spotlight. I don't see why she would do it, because she's already made the money. Now, most people going in for the grift. They go in making $175,000 as congressperson. AOC 6 years later is worth $30 million. You go, well, how'd that happen? Well, she got a book deal, buddy. And the book sold $500,000 worth of in real terms. So well, the book company lost money. Well, who up here owns the book company? Somebody's getting a hook up here. Somebody's influencing policy. You're not giving that moron $30 million for a book deal. And it goes on with the Obama's $85 million from Netflix. They didn't make 85. They didn't make 30. They probably make 10 million on people watching, signing up for Netflix because of them. But there was some payback somewhere. I mean, it used to be you had people were successful in their careers and you drag them into politics. You drag them into being a judge. You said, yeah, I know you retired as a successful attorney. Why don't you become a judge? That was it. Now these people make a career out of politics, which is what a mess.
The other thing, it's just both sides are screwed up. Anybody that believes that the Democrats or the Republicans like you is crazy. The only time they really do anything for vets is every 4 years, whenever they need to trot out some and get some veteran votes. You know, that's all
Right.
it is. It is just crazy. I mean, you saw the other day, Joe Biden was in South Carolina with Clyburn in a church, and Joe Biden is back. They call it dark Biden, just spreading this hate and discontent. I think Biden's campaign's all going to be about hatred. I mean, what's your take on this? And the other question I've got, if with Democrats, they're supposed to be for democracy, freedom, then why are the Democrats not allowing Robert F. Kennedy on any Democrat ballot? No primaries. There's no primaries allowed for the Democrats. What's your take on that? Would them not allow? I'm not a Robert F. Kennedy fan by any means, but for them to preach, you know, we got to keep this ballot integrity, and then removing someone, and then at the same time not allowing others, is that really democracy? What's your take on this whole ballot?
Well, of course
bullshit?
not. It's democracy if they tell you it is. First of all, they told you it's democracy, Ben, so it's democracy.
Yeah.
You're a threat to the democracy even saying that's, so of course they should allow, I mean, he's got to say it, and he brought a lot of stir to the game. Does he got enough votes in the state? They'll make it complicated because on a debate stage, he could bring up lots of things that they don't want discussed. He's not going to play along. He's not going to play the game. He's, his position on things. I don't like what he has to say, but he brings up a lot of interesting things to a debate, which are shocking to see. And you go, wow, I didn't know that. He could be a complete loon. But when he brings up stuff he's got experience in particular, winning big judgments and settlements.
Environmental.
With, environmental, and let's talk pharma, that's damning. And the guy's a lawyer who was been to trial, well-spoken. I mean, besides the weird voice thing.
Took on Monsanto and won.
That is, so you figure how many he's prepared for this. So they don't need him involved. He just confuses it and brings light to things that they don't want light to be seen on. They want him to go away.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing is he had an uncle and a dad that were both assassinated, and both of those investigations are still under lock and key. Do you think they're just keeping him out so that he can't open that up? Because if I'm Bobby Kennedy and I get elected at the inauguration, I'm like dropping flyers of those investigative reports. I mean, I'm spreading that everywhere.
Why didn't Trump release it until Bill Barr released this?
I agree.
Well, it's very simple, because the whole machine would come down. They go, wow, we had the CIA with some FBI informants over here involved with the mob, involved with this. It's very simple. If it was just the mob, I was sitting the physical therapist, and I was sitting there, all this crap. They start talking about documentaries, and I said, yeah, the mob killed Kennedy. I said, if the mob killed Kennedy, all this stuff would be released. It'd be very simple, because the mob doesn't have the power anymore. You release it, blame it on Sam Giancana, who's long since dead. Done. End of story.
Blame it on some Guido out of Jersey.
The mob is not the 100% responsible, because they didn't release it. If they release just like if there's a shooter, you'll immediately know, oh my God, it's a veteran, and he
white male veteran.
If you don't hear, you go, I guess I know. It's very simple. And they don't want you to go, what was their sexuality?
Yeah.
They go, what are you, a racist? I go, no, I'm just curious.
How many SSRIs were they on?
Well, I said something about that all of them have been on SSRIs, and you go, well, that doesn't mean there's no way to test serotonin levels. There's no way to say, okay, my serotonin in my brain is 4. I took this thing, it's 10. I'm happy. Because you would never take an antibiotic if it says may make you better or may kill you. You go, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, and you say that and people sim for it. They go, well, some antibiotics have antibiotic resistance. I go, shut up. I'm talking about you need it. It's not going to kill you. I mean, well, some people are allergic to it. I'm like, okay. You know, so people even are just taking the Kool-Aid. They hand those things out. I mean, you and I go on for hours about the VA. You take your pain pills and your Soma. Oh, no, we don't do that anymore. Now I'll take these SSRIs for this. I go, wait a second. I don't want Lyrica. I don't have like diabetic neuropathy, dude. If you see, you know, I mean, I see that and I go, no, just if you read my MRI report, you go, yeah, this says immediate attention required. Like, yeah, I don't want your Lyrica. You know, I'm not asking for any pain pills. Don't try to hand me Lyrica. That's for little old ladies with some diabetic neuropathy. And they're like, oh, it helps me at night, honey. You know, give me a break.
I agree. That's all I got for this week,
All right,
man.
buddy.
That's it. We'll get linked back up. Man, I got like an ice storm coming here to Arkansas. I think you said you had like some damn
3
flooding
degrees.
up there.
Yeah, it's fun. Whatever.
It's crazy. You guys take care of Pogey Bates out of here.
Global warming. Good night now.
Global warming.